Hello again, day 7 of our Miyazaki trip. We got up around 8 a.m. Krista went to make breakfast, and I cleaned and packed the tent and the sleeping bags in our bags. And Krista was making breakfast. She was making everything else that we had food-wise, trying to get it all into one breakfast thing so we didn't bring anything with us to the next homestay. Our homestay people were going to pick us up at 11, so we wanted to get everything done by 11, so they just picked us up. We didn't have any cleaning left to do. But we were early done cleaning, so we went and hung out by Yoko and Equal's tent and soaked some last sun rays in at the camp there. And around 11:15, Terafumi and his wife Iko picked us up, and we said our final goodbyes to Equal and Yoko. And Terafumi and Equal took us to a shrine called Yudo Shrine. It's in a sea cave. It's further down in Miyazaki. The sea cave is on the side of this cliff, and it is just awesome. It's a humongous sea cave, and the shrine is inside the sea cave. It's a big shrine building inside this cave. So there's pictures on the blog. Definitely check them out. There's a tradition that you do there. You pay 100 yen, you get 5 clay pellets, and men throw with their left hand and women throw with their right hand off the cliff, and then down further in on the cliff there's a rock with a rope circle on it, and you try to get your clay pellets inside that rope circle, and if you get it inside the circle you have good luck. Chris and I both get our rocks inside the circle, but they bounced out, but we're thinking we're getting good luck because we got it inside the circle. Iko got it inside and it stayed, so she was pretty stoked. She was like, yay! So I got that on film. So that was fun. From there, after taking pictures and went back towards the car, at all the giant major shrines, there's like set up outside the shrine area, there's like concession stands, kind of like in Mexico, really. It's kind of like, it looks like the same in Mexico. And so they were selling Hugenatsu soft cream, which is like ice cream. So we got some Hugenatsu ice cream. And they always have these giant tourism attraction maps. And so we were looking at the tourism attraction maps with Terafumi, and we saw these, pretty close to us, these giant Easter Island heads. And we're like, oh my gosh, is that like a thing here, that there's like ancient Easter Island heads as well as on Easter Island? They looked exactly the same. And we're like, can we go? Can we go? And Terafumi was like, sure. So we got in the car and we went to this place. And we were super excited because we thought there's going to be ancient Easter Island heads. And we showed up at this place, and it was called Sun Mesa. And it's a replica park. So all these replicas of the Easter Island heads and modern art and old castles and stuff. They just have a bunch of replicas. So it ended up being really fun. I'm glad we went. But we were kind of a little disappointed that it wasn't real. But it was real. I mean, they're stone. They either carved or formed, but they look pretty real. They're all life size. So we went around and took photos of everything, and there's some swings there. Krista went on the swings, and I took photos of her above the Easter Island heads up on the hill. We sat down with some modern art, took photos. And we definitely went down and took photos with the giant heads, and we did our handstands next to the giant heads, obviously. There was donkeys there and giant turtles, so we went and pet the donkeys and played with the giant turtles. And that was awesome. I mean, we had a blast. And Terafumi was just like, we cracked him up with everything we did. And his wife, Hiko, she was just laughed the whole time. After that, we drove back to Terafumi's house. He lives in the city of Miyazaki, pretty near the river. There's a giant river that goes through Miyazaki City. So he went to just lay down. He was a little tired. And so we went on a quick walk to the park that's by the river, and it's a giant park by the river. They were doing construction because I guess 10 years ago there was a giant flood. And this river, I mean, it's like 3 football fields across. It's a big river. And then from the river, there's plenty of space that's actually floodplain that they've turned into like parks, soccer fields, and frisbee fields and golf courses along the side of this river. But Terafumi was telling me 10 years ago there was a giant flood. It had rained a bunch, and it had also had a cyclone and a big storm. And so they had shut a bunch of the wave guards. So the water just really came down this river and had nowhere to go, and it overflowed the banks, and a lot of houses like had water up to the roofs. So they're doing a ton of construction. They've been doing a ton of construction around this river to make it so it can withhold a lot of water. So we went down to the park and did headstands by the park, obviously. And then we went back to Terafumi's house, and Terafumi made us Japanese curry, which was awesome, with leeks and chicken. And we learned a little bit about him. He is a retired school administrator, and that's where he met his wife. She worked at this school as well. And then he told us a little bit about he's been a part of service for 15 years, and he traveled before that, and he's traveled throughout it, and he showed us an atlas of how many people had stayed with him and where in the atlas they had stayed. So we actually signed the atlas book and showed him where we're from. And then he showed us a photo album. He had a photo album of everybody who had stayed. So throughout the time that we were with him, he was taking photos of us so he could put us in the photo album. So that was fun. So that was all fun, and then we went to bed for the next day. See you tomorrow.